Welcome to the Soul Tribe Podcast. The Soul Tribe Podcast was created to help you navigate through the world of spirituality, wellness, and self-development in an easy, grounded, and relatable way. We break down everything from the Akashic Records, manifesting, spirituality, and so much more. We want to help expand your boundaries and bring the spiritual world to you in a fun and easy way. Get ready to be inspired with tips, tools, and easy to digest information. Let's do this.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Soul Tribe Podcast. Today we're going to do an episode which we're labeling the spiritual divide.
Yes.
I'm having a really difficult day today because, well, Aurora woke up really early for some reason and decided that it was already time to wake up.
What time was that?
It was like almost 6 in the morning. She gets into school at 8:30, so there's no reason for you to be awake.
That is pretty early. Oh my gosh.
But she usually doesn't wake up that early, so yeah, I'm tired because of that. And then I got to sleep a little bit later than usual as well. And then the back and forth, 80 minutes on the bike, back and forth. And then I made sure to put a run. And then the morning I recorded my Patreon episode. And then I did a bunch of emails and stuff. So it was like the whole day was for me, it was like run.
I feel like my day's like that today as well. Pretty busy.
I feel like I want to fast forward really quickly and be like, can I get into bed and meditate and just like end it already? Like, yeah. I mean, it's not that bad if I look at it from outside. Okay, riding a bike for 80 minutes and running and answering emails and recording a really cool spiritual podcast or Patreon episode.
It's great. Yeah.
It's great, but I'm physically tired.
My brain feels tired. That's where I feel tired. Like, I feel like I want to concentrate on stuff and I can't today. But
yeah,
there's like ups and downs during the week too. I think there's a lot going on here where I am. So I think that's also kind of draining my energy. And I've been getting really into crypto. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks.
I'm the one that you bother with every little question.
I know, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Hey, can I say it? Lucia was right again.
Lucia is sometimes right.
No, Lucia's almost always right.
Whatever. Anyway.
Yes, anyways. Speaking of being right. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so today we want to talk about... I'm not going to go too profound into it, like too detailed into it, because that's really not the purpose of today's episode. But the gist of it is basically, so we have Earth, and Earth vibrates currently on 4D. Now, it wasn't always like that. At some point it was 3D, but currently it's vibrating on 4D. So when I say D, it's density, right? So it's like the matter density and things like that. And then originally we were vibrating on 3D as well, just like Earth. But we've began this really long process of moving in to 4D. And when I say we, I mean humans, right? I'm talking about us because Earth is already there. We've been transitioning into 4D. Now, this is where it gets a little more complex. Not every individual currently incarnated on Earth has tapped into 4D or will be tapping into 4D. They'll probably, those that don't will be staying on 3D. I'm saying probably because they still have the opportunity of possibly awakening in some form, realizing who they really are, what they really are. It's like that huge aha moment where you're like, whoa, I'm not just a body, or, you surpass many things and you're able to go into 4D. Even if you know that you're a soul, that doesn't mean you're in 4D. Like, I'm a soul having human experience. Like, even if you have the basic information, that doesn't mean you're in 4D. 4D is like, you have to embody it. Yeah. 4D is like, I'm not negative all the time. I don't constantly inform myself about negative things. I'm not like waiting for the apocalypse and the destruction of the world. Like, it's like I'm very concentrated on my path, but I'm open enough to see what's really going on. And when I say really, I mean not what I'm told is going on, but what really is going on. So it's a balance between all these things. And learning that you're a almighty creator, you can create a better life for yourself, and all these things that we've been talking about, which is like empower yourself, get off of the enslavement system that we're all stuck on, that hamster wheel thing we're all stuck on. Feeling all those urges and desires is probably a really good indication that you're in 4D or heading towards 4D. No one that vibrates in 4D can sustain a typical enslavement job that's sucking your energy. Like you would not be able to take it because you're too past that. So if you're starting to feel urges like, oh, this job is taking my energy, it doesn't suit me anymore, or I need something else, or there's something else that I need, this isn't good enough anymore, that might be an indication as well that you're starting to get that aha moment and move into that. I mean, we could go on with this, right? But
yeah.
Just
I like what you said, though, the embodiment. I think that's the big word here, that you're embodying whatever your purpose is, but you're also seeing past what this 3D life we were living was. That's gone, right? That's ended. But I think I want to clear something up because the message I'm also getting is like, some of you might think, well, I'm still healing, I'm still figuring things out. That's okay. You can be vibrating on 4D while you're on that path of figuring yourself out, but embodying and living the purpose that you need to be living. You just, there's a thing that I think this is what we channeled in the Patreon, because this was a big thing that we talked about in the Patreon that we've been talking about
since like last year.
Yeah.
Like the end of 2020, we were already channeling the 3D 4D thing.
Yeah, and we were talking about how we can go into 3D and 4D. So there might be moments, especially at the beginning, where we're going a little bit back and forth with our energy, but maybe we're vibrating more in 4D at moments. So that's also something to take into consideration, because I think some of you might be probably thinking right now, oh, am I still in 3D because I don't get it all yet. I don't understand it all, but it's the embodiment of how you're living that matters most.
If you think maybe you have a little, nudge, oh, I think I'm in 3D or I'm stuck here. I think the best way to come out of it is like, turn off the TV,
yeah.
Grab like whatever, like enlightening, spiritual, philosophical, like I would say, normally I would say religious, but no, because religion has a lot of limitations that actually don't make you realize what an incredible individual you are, really. Right, your capabilities. So I'm not going to add religious to that, not because I don't believe in a religion or no one should believe in religion, but because I think actually religions limit us to being more amazing than we can.
I agree. Yeah, but also I think for me sometimes is listening to music or dancing that gets me out of this whole 3D thing. Sometimes it's like, wow, I'm just being, I'm just here, I'm present. I think just being present helps to kind of connect a little bit more with yourself. And
yeah, but I don't think music is only going to do it, because you need a...
No, but I mean, for me personally, when I listen to music, it's like I unplug from everything else. This isn't something I do very often. It's sometimes. And it's like, wow, I'm not thinking about what's coming up on the media. I'm not thinking about what I'm thinking in my mind. I'm just allowing myself to flow. So to me, it can be a little bit meditative at moments too. My walking too, that can feel very much like I'm flowing. I don't know. I can channel things. I feel like I'm connected to nature and stuff.
Yeah, that's how it is for me
Gaia.
for jogging. I feel like I'm meditating when I'm jogging sometimes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. But I just want to make sure people that might be feeling stuck in 3D, just turning on your music is not going to get you there.
No, of course
I don't want to make them think, I understand what you're saying. It's disconnecting from that. Maybe that's a step to take before you sit down and read or watch an episode of something. I don't know. In my case, it would be like Gaia, or you listen to a podcast episode, or you go to meditate, or, whatever. But the idea is you need to bring in new perspectives and new visions, I guess you would say. Like, you need to start learning about the wisdom that that has been hidden from us for centuries, right?
Yeah, I think that's part of it, but I also think that that's not a prerequisite. I think, at least is what I'm getting, is like you said, it's some of us are interested in some things, some of us in others, and some people might not be living a life like we are, like reading people's Akashic records, but they're still doing their own spiritual stuff. And they're still vibrating in 4D because they're...
Yeah, but they're doing their spiritual stuff because they once found out about it. But we're talking about the people that have not found out about it or are not really into it. Yeah. So if you ask me, my opinion is it is a requisite. You cannot go prerequisite. If you ask me, I don't think that someone that's in 3D can jump into 4D and not have knowledge of any of these things. It's impossible.
No, you have to understand it or know it, yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to be reading books every day. You just grasped it at some point. You understand it and you embody it.
No one's saying they have to read every day, but
yeah,
do it. You have to spend more time on your advancement and your expansion and your wisdom more than
and your healing.
Sitting on the couch.
Watching TV and zoning out. Yeah, I agree 100%. You have to be working on yourself, however that looks for you.
Yeah.
And that's part of your healing too, right?
Yeah. So the idea to talk about this was to bring, so we've brought it in to explain what the separation is, because if you're not on the Patreon, you haven't heard about this before. I think it's the first time we've talked about it on the podcast. The Patreon, we've been talking about this for like a year, and we got into it and they totally know already, but that's the gist of it. And so it might feel, for people that are hearing this for the first time, it might feel or sound like a really drastic, we're separating, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it that way. I know that sometimes I have a different perspective than people, but it's like, I don't see it that way. I see it like I've chosen that I'm going to expand myself and go over here. And maybe you chose to continue the same experience because your soul hasn't finished learning what it has and it's going to go over there. That's how I see it. And my soul's respecting your soul by saying, okay, go over there. And you can stay in your category and I'll stay in my category. And we'll both advance in the ways that we consider best for our own expansion and growth. And we should not judge, interrupt, or intervene in the process of the other individuals. And intervene also meaning, like, if I see someone in 3D having an issue and I want to jump in and help, unless they come and ask me for help, I shouldn't go and help because I'm actually intervening in that experience their soul signed up for example.
Like their free will, right?
Yeah, their free will. Maybe their soul doesn't want to be helped. Maybe the soul's learning to empower itself and help itself, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
And I've come across so many readings where that comes up, actually, now that you're saying that, where people are like, how do I help this person? Or what do I do to get this person to feel better? And a lot of times it's like, well, there's these things you can do, but not in the way that you're imagining it or thinking it. You're not going to change their mind. You're not going to make them see things from a different perspective. And in the meantime, while you're trying to do that, you're literally draining yourself of energy and you're not following your purpose. Because
you're using your energy to concentrate on that, not only just to help, right?
Yeah, so that's where it can get a little tricky. And this is also what's coming up is our contracts with people, right? And I think we've talked about this several times where sometimes we've come to play the quote-unquote bad person and hurt somebody or do something that, our contracts have said that we're going to help them by doing this thing, like this X thing, right? So that's still within our free will to decide that. So sometimes that is, I think, tricky to kind of separate sometimes. We're like, oh, but I'm doing this one thing, but actually this was part of my contract. I was trying to help them. I was hurting them so that they could wake up. So that could be an aspect of it, but I see what you're saying where it's like everybody's on their own path. We need to respect that. We're all in it together, but we respect each other's free will. And that's crucial, especially right now.
Yeah,
that's not happening.
Well, no, that's not happening at all. No. That's why we did the episode, The Breaking Point.
Yeah.
Because everything we're seeing right now is literally... Now it's in front of us, right?
It's in your face. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that there's a lot of that going on. People not respecting other people's opinions or other people's viewpoints or desires or ways of living, right?
Yeah.
And
opinions even, like, I have an opinion.
Yeah. No,
like, I don't respect your opinions. Like, well, it's my opinion. Like, you can think whatever you want, but I don't know. It's crazy.
That reminds me of like when people like attack me about something. I'll be like, yeah, but that's your opinion. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but that's your opinion. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay, but that's not my opinion. That's yours. Thank you for giving it to me. That's not mine.
If we like unpack that, right? Unpack this whole opinion thing and no, I'm right, you're wrong. If we unpack that, what is that? That's ego.
That's ego.
we're in this fight of egos right now on Earth. For the egos of the 3D with the non-egos of the 4D, of free will and openness and communication. It's like this clashing of energies.
And then I want to add to that, there's cognitive dissonance. It's like a program that is really well attached. The way they're showing it to me, it's like it goes around the ego. It's like it's slimy around the ego. So it's a belief system that's been impregnated in the person, whatever belief system. It could be maybe religion. Like you see people sometimes snap about even religion or politics or whatever it is. That cognitive dissonance, that belief system is so strong, it merges with the ego. And if someone comes and tries to say something that contradicts even slightly that belief system, the cognitive dissonance is like it's activated. And since it's so attached to the ego jumps. And the ego it comes into defense mode, full blown, like in your face, right? Yeah. So if you're in a scenario where you're talking to someone about anything, again, I'm talking about anything, and you see them react, and you know that it's a really strong, it's probably, or it is a really strong belief system, I'll say, take a step back. And don't even like intervene in that conversation anymore, because it's just going to be you defending yourself against that person's exploding ego, and you shouldn't even have to defend yourself. So just walk off.
Yeah. Yeah. It can get quite tricky right now with people, especially I think the global situation right now has generated this climate, this environment for people just to be on edge and for people to jump and defend something that they don't even know everything about it, or they don't understand it completely. And this is where we're separating, and it literally is so sad. Like, I can't even wrap
I saw
my
a
head
video
around
the other
it.
day of like a teenager, and she was not wearing a mask. And the cops came, and she's a teenager. She was maybe like 12 or 13. They pepper sprayed her for not wearing a mask. And I'm sorry, I don't live. I currently do not want to live in the world where it's okay to do that to a teenager, when we've known that, first of all, teenagers were always rebellious and they always kind of did what they wanted. That's not a new thing. We're not talking about if she's wrong or right. I'm just talking about how.
Yeah, like just respecting each other.
She's still young. She still has she might still have a mind which it gets confused. And in what way is that not abuse from the cop?
Yeah.
Because since he's wearing a suit and he has some sort of uniform, sorry. And he has some sort of like badge, he has all the right to attack this minor. Like people
that's
need
ego too, right? Instead of being able to sit and converse and say, okay, what's going on here? I mean, I think there's a lot of people that might not understand this situation that we're in completely. Like you were saying at the beginning, like really understand what's going on at every level. There's like, we're talking about the onion again. There's layers to this. It's not just, oh, let me just pull this layer up. Okay, cool. I figured it out. No, there's a lot of layers to this. This is complex. This is very psychological. This is very spiritual in many ways. Yeah. There's a lot to this.
I mean, we also signed up for a process of awakening, and the only way awakening can come in is via crisis.
Totally.
So what's going to define you? I mean, let's just break it down. What's going to define you as an individual? It's how you react to these things and your level of compassion. If you have no compassion for other people's opinions and perspectives and how they want to live, you're probably going to continue to stay in 3D. And the things that the Akashic Records have said about 3D is 3D is going to continue to live a cycle of more difficult and more difficult situations, while 4D individuals are going to start a process of liberation from the system, the enslavement system, auto-independent, empowerment, progressing as an individual and as a soul and expanding. Like, these are all good things that are coming into play for the 4D individual. So if if you've noticed that you might be in that place where you've lost compassion for, I mean, the country records say it. You should even have compassion for a serial killer. We're not even supposed to judge serial killers here.
It's not judging. And that's what everybody is doing right now in the world against everything.
Yeah.
People are judging each other. I love what you said, the compassion. I think that really resonates because I think that's what's lost right now, and where people are going down this energetic portal of like anger and ego and I'm right, you're wrong. And it's like, oh my gosh, no, like, let's have compassion for each other. Like, I have compassion for people that don't know what's going on. Like, I feel bad. I want everybody to wake up right now. I think it's important, not just for them, but for the collective. I think it's going to benefit all of us if we're all vibrating with that energy.
Yeah, I mean, if more people woke up, it's more convenient for everybody, including even those that are already vibrating in 4D. It's convenient for everybody. But again, everyone's free will is coming into play. And even though, if you ask me, the truth is out there pretty easily accessible these days, even though I think that, and there's a lot of people that don't even know that there's other portals of information and other ways to get in tuned with what's going on. And
something that I really kind of have noticed since this whole global situation has started a couple years ago, it's like, what is it, 2 years ago maybe? Or a year and a half? I don't remember.
Year and a half.
Is like the division, right? I think this division that we have going on, it goes at so many levels, from countries to politics to opinions to science to it's so crazy, like spiritually, religion, like every time that we keep feeding into these things, we're separating and dividing more. And that's exactly what some people want to happen. They want us to divide because then they have more power.
Well, you want to call them the commanders of Earth, those that are actually in charge. Yeah, that's what they want.
Energetically, yeah. And it's easier to manipulate people that way. It's easier for, I don't know, just to become more dogmatic in your ideas and thoughts and visions. Because it's like, wow, if people don't think the way I think or see things the way I see them, then they're not part of my group.
I was having a conversation with, this was like, I don't know, months and months ago. And it was, I wasn't really leading the conversation, but I was with someone else and they were having the conversation. I was kind of with, I believe the same points that person believed, right?
Yeah.
They were having a conversation with someone else, and the other person was like, I think that the government should do this, and I think the government should do that. And it was like a lot of really, if you ask me, Lucia, tyrannical, ridiculous, non-free will ideas. Everything that my spiritual self goes against, right? And believes. And the person that was having the conversation mainly is not a spiritual person.
Yeah.
They were just be like, no, but what are you talking about? You want the government to control you, everyone, everything all the time. Like, and everything depends on status of where you've been, who you're with, blah, 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 like all this stuff. Right. And then the person just got into this really, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like they became a tyrannical entity, just like the government or the media that was talking on TV.
Yeah.
And so the person stopped and goes, are you listening to yourself? No, blah, 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 blah. No, but listen to what you're saying.
It's fear.
Like, listen to what you're saying to me. You're using the word deserve.
Yeah.
Why are you okay or permitted to say what I do or do not deserve? Are you all of a sudden God? Are you all of a sudden the almighty creator of everything, and you decide who deserves what and who does not deserve what? Like, people need to stop and listen to the words you're using when you're communicating.
And the energy that you're saying things with. Is it coming from fear? Is it coming from a place of compassion? Is it coming from a place of trying to see both sides and trying to have an open, honest communication with somebody? Or are you just trying to prove a point so that you can be right? Ego.
Yeah. The other thing is responsibility, which I did a whole episode about because I saw this coming as well, where I started seeing a lot of patterns, and this was months ago, I don't know how many. I started seeing all these patterns coming up, and I saw how it was going to expand out, and I saw how people were deciding that other people, it's like, I'm no longer responsible for myself.
Yeah.
It's like, you should be responsible yourself. You're responsible for what you do, and no one else is responsible for you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the first thing the soul world would say. Responsibility. We all have our own free will. We are responsible for ourselves and our own actions. Whatever collateral damage might happen. Let's say that you drove a car. I'm going to give like a really ridiculous one, but like, let's say I drove drunk, right? And I had an accident and maybe someone else got hurt. Karmically speaking, my soul's going to have to deal with that, right?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for, I had the drink and I decided to drive the car. Not my buddies that were drinking with me, for example, or no one that stopped me from getting in the car. I'm the only one responsible for what happens to me and what I bring into the world.
Yeah.
So I can't responsible for your things or your things or your things. I'm only responsible for mine. And I think that people are losing. I'm giving a really different example of what we're living, but like, I think you know what I mean,
but that
right?
makes sense. It's like if everyone can stay in their own lane, right? That's something I think about a lot in my mind when I was living in this, comparing myself to others in general, right? Just in how far someone had got, or it's not even jealousy or anything. It's just like, I'm comparing myself, so I get into this ego state. I think when we start doing that and we start looking on people in their lane instead of looking at what we're doing, how we're acting, how we're showing up, then we're losing sight of where we're going, and then we're more than likely going to start living out of ego because you're not focused on yourself. You're focused on something else or somebody else's idea. And that can be quite tricky.
You think I'm seeing a lot where people think it's their belief system, but it's been put in, the cognitive dissonance thing, the belief system with the ego meshed together that I was seeing, it's like that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the best example that is like religion, right? Like since a little child, maybe they take you to a specific church and everything that church teaches, you totally believe and you think that's your belief system. You think that it's yours, but it's been with you and it's been put into you so much that you think it's yours. But if you were to be able to lease it, you might find out something new about yourself, or you might figure something else out that suits you better. But as long as you're attached to that.
How many people do you get in readings that have that problem? They're like, I don't know what I believe anymore. One of the biggest
issues I see in people that cannot connect, because so many religions, well, I don't know all of them, so because I would have to study them, but it seems like so many religions either tell you you're not supposed to connect on your own because it's not the right thing, or you need them to know, or
or that you're connecting to something evil, or I don't know.
Because you can't get the information because you're not as powerful. Well, guess what? We all are as powerful. We all can get that information, and it's not coming from something bad. It's coming from your higher self, which is the most amazing thing that you could be connected to.
They're made to believe that, though. And then they struggle years and years, and maybe their whole entire life, trying to be like, what do I actually believe? Because I've been so brainwashed and we're just using religions as an example, but it could be about your self-worth. It could be about your self-love. You've been taught since you were little that, you're not worth anything, by the way your family treated you, by how they made you feel. It could be really traumatic, or it could just be something that from the outside doesn't look traumatic, but to you it was. And now it affects you. And that all is, there are just different levels of it. And one would be religion, because we were just mentioning that. But it definitely feels like, staying on this topic, that we're seeing more and more people that are just dividing from their families, from their friends, from their loved ones because of opinions, or because of belief systems, or because of ego.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, because I think this is part of what we need to go through, but I find it sad. I find it sad that, that we can't open up and see things from everybody's perspective and just coexist.
I think for me, this isn't too hard because I've been really good at detaching my entire life. I've prepared for this my entire life.
I think that's part of your personality too, right?
It is. I'm pretty good at detaching. I mean, it could be someone I'm friends with since, for decades. And then if one day that energy no longer suits me, it's not like I'm not talking to you ever again. I'm mad at you and I hate you and you're a shitty person. No, it's actually I don't feel like I can teach you anything anymore because whatever I believe doesn't suit you anymore and what you believe doesn't suit me anymore. And I easily move on. I easily accept it.
It's an energetic thing too. You just feel it, right?
Yeah.
You're like, what am I doing? It doesn't work anymore.
So
it can be harder than this, of course. We're kind of skimming over it, but it could be quite difficult to detach from that too. A lot of us want to continue to have our family members and these friends and these people around us because they're our family. But a lot of times, and I've seen this over and over again, it's like sometimes you have to detach from that for a bit.
I'm not even talking about this era. So many times, there are family members that really do not mentally suit you to have around, or maybe sometimes physically. Just because your soul chose to be born into that family doesn't mean you have to have contact with that family. If it doesn't suit you and it's not healthy for you, then why would you keep yourself surrendered to that situation? You should detach from it and say, I deserve better and I know that I want to find something that's more aligned with my belief system. Doesn't mean you're wrong or right. It just means you're going to find something that's most aligned with your belief system, your desires, your wants. I mean, I talked about this today on the Patreon podcast as well that I was channeling. You need to find people that vibrate with you. And you need to find people that project towards the same goals as you. If you stay in a circle, let's say it's friends. If you stay in a circle of friends that they're still cracking, maybe let's say they're still cracking the same jokes and going to the same places and kind of hanging out and doing the same things. And you're kind of I feel like I've done that cycle and I feel like I need something else. Yeah. It doesn't mean that they're wrong. It means that they're still there and you're not there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah,
if you keep yourself there because you're so attached to it, you're keeping yourself back from being able to do probably something really good for you that might really advance you. And so what's happening now? We're having it strengthened times 10 now because we have the scenario of the 3D, 4D. And the individuals that are starting to feel like they're vibrating into possibly 4D are finding themselves being trapped in these scenarios with 3D energies, individuals that might share a family, a friendship, or an attachment of some sort, maybe a partner, and it no longer suits you. Well, you need to say, I love myself. I deserve more, and I want to find someone to accompany me that can possibly take their place in a different way, but I need to close that door and move over here. And I find I'm talking to a lot of people about this. A lot of people are having issues with this actually. And it doesn't mean you can never talk to the person again. And it doesn't mean you hate them and they're bad. It just means you need to love yourself first and put yourself first and say, I'm going to go find individuals that are in the same cycle as me.
Yeah. That feels so right. And I think we all resist that sometimes. We're like, oh no, I can't do that right now. Let me just, it's fine. I'll just hang out with them. And it's not about being, drastic either. It's just it's like you said, or dramatic, sorry. It's well, it's not working anymore. I have to listen to myself. And the more we can do that, we're also going to be embodying that life that we're supposed to be embodying more. Otherwise, we're going to keep holding ourselves back. And we're going to keep vibrating lower, right?
I get excited, but I love change, though. I'll be like, wow, if this person's leaving my life, I wonder what amazing person's going to take their place. I can't wait to find out. I get excited about
Well, you're different than most people because I think most of us, like me, are that's scary. I don't know. What if I end up alone? What if no one comes along? What if I don't find my tribe? It's like that
saying in Spanish, más vale solo que mal acompañado. Better off alone than in bad company.
Yeah. Totally.
That's that saying to me is that's the scenario right there. It's better to be alone. If you're going to be alone, okay, fine. But you're going to be in peace with yourself and your decision because you did it for you. And it's going to allow you to progress even though you possibly yet didn't bump in But I'm pretty sure that if you've made that decision, it's the right one for you and it really feels aligned, then it's probably going to bring into the scenario other individuals that your soul has decided that is going to line up with. So I don't think that would actually happen, but I understand that fear though.
No, I think I'm just stating that as like something most people feel, but I think also it's like the more you go more into connecting with your higher self, using your spiritual tools, meditating, whatever that is, the more you're not going to stand for energy that doesn't align with you. And the more you're going to probably, something I remember one of the Reiki practitioners I used to go to, like back in the day, this was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. I remember she was doing Reiki on me like a couple times a week. And I remember just things changing and shifting. She's like, and I remember telling her this thing that had happened. And she's like, that's normal. Like once you start aligning with your energy and start getting rid of all this stuff that isn't yours and you start feeling better, people will start leaving your life. They'll start just disappearing. They just don't want to be in your life anymore. Or you feel that about people.
Or you just don't connect or message each other as much.
Yes.
And no one really has a reason. It just kind of happened.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. It's energetic. Like there's no way to explain it at like a 3D level, right?
And then there are those people that you disconnect with. I mean, I'm going to talk about someone specific, La Flaca in Uruguay. She was like where were you half the time when she was living at our house?
I was there. I was just doing my own thing.
Oh, I think I blocked you out. Because she would sleep in the room with me. We had a bed on the floor for her. She would sleep in the room with me. She was like my other sister. She always felt like my sister. And we were attached at the hip, like, I don't know how many years. And then at some point she moved to Spain. And that was the last time. Because then I moved to the capital to study. And then after I moved to Mexico. And then after I moved to Canada, I don't know. Like, so we never really bumped into each other. But like, and it was like around the time where Facebook wasn't really a thing yet. So I never really connected with her. After a while, people from like town we started finding each other. But I never actively went out to look for her, like her name or anything. But I would see her picture pop up because we have the same friends, of course. And she was back in town and I was seeing her in the picture. It's like, oh, look, she looks like she had a kid. Oh, look. Oh, I think she got married. That's awesome. But that was like it. I never really reached out. And when I went to Uruguay in November, I had heard that I had seen that she was doing wood therapy thing. That's like good for the lymphatic system and losing weight and like all that stuff. I was like, ooh, I could really use someone to assist me with this weight stuff. Right. Yeah. So I was like, I messaged her and I said, hey, I'm actually in Uruguay. And I'm like, I want to get a session. And she's like, okay, come by tomorrow. Oh my God, I can't believe you're here. And how long has it been? I think it had been at least 15 years.
At least.
Yeah, at least 15. So I'm like, where are you? She's like, the same house. I'm like, oh, the same house. And I didn't have a car because I didn't have a car to drive because I had forgotten my driver's license here in Holland. So I was like, oh no, I have to pop on the bike, my old bike. And I had to bike to your house like I was 15 again, Lorena. The whole thing was like, and I had to go through the same roads on the same bike to the same house to see that person that I was going to visit every day because she would be there if she wasn't at our house, right? And I was like, oh my God, this is like so weird. I'm past 35 and I'm still biking to her house now. Like, what is this? It was so weird. And we got there and it was like catching up while she was doing the session. And then she ended up wanting to get a reading. And then we ended up kind of meeting up almost every day while I was there. And it was like time had never passed. And then we were like, oh my God, I forgot. I never realized that I missed you. And I forgot that I loved you so much. And we were both saying the same thing. And now it's like, now we still talk and we're projecting to possibly one day be able to live like neighbors, like next door to each other or something. That's like the dream for us now. But I think that we didn't suit each other in that chunk of time.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe we do now and we did before, but those 15 years, she wasn't mad at me. I wasn't mad at her. We were both living our life, but we didn't suit each other in that chunk of time. And that's okay. I thought that was a good example because separation doesn't mean that it's forever. It just means it's for the time that it suits you and them.
Of course. Yeah. That's a good thing to point out, I think. And that sometimes we're going through our own things that we have to be in this energy, this place. And that person can't accompany us, not at least during that time.
Yeah.
And then you come together and it can be interesting, just a different dynamic, and learn things from each other again. Because that's kind of what you guys did, right?
Well, we bumped into each other. We realized that we both had the same belief system spiritually, that we both actually had the same exact dream. Like everything was like, well, me too. Oh my God. And blah, blah, blah. Me too. Oh my God. And we hadn't talked in 15 years. So it was like our soul said, oh, we're in the same place. Let's meet up again.
Yeah. That's
right?
So cool.
Because literally everything I want to project into my near future, she actually wants the exact same thing, almost the same way.
Yeah.
It's nuts. So I thought that was a really good example, so that people don't go, well, I'm disconnecting from this person. Maybe they meet up with you halfway at some point.
They just need to go on a different path meanwhile.
Yeah. It might take them a little bit longer, or, and in my case, I don't know who took longer. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we met up in the same place with the same projections and belief systems. And now we recreated our union again, right? Our souls to support each
beautiful.
Other.
I love that. I don't know. I think moving forward, it like we keep saying, I don't know if we've said this on here, but things aren't going to get easier for a while. So we've said, like strap on. Like it's going to be bumpy for a while longer.
I mean,
so
I'm still feeling that it's going to get worse, and I'm wondering when it is.
Yeah.
I thought at this point it would have already happened.
I know, me too, but I don't think it has. So with that said, like, I think it's going to be inevitable that we sometimes feel lonely. It's going to be inevitable that sometimes we feel separation, that we're going to move apart from people. We're going to start to live a different way and have to think a different way. So I think the best thing we can all do, including Lucy and I, it's just keep an open perspective in mind about everything, and you be able to decide what's right for you with your free will, and you be able to take the steps, the paths, the decisions that you need to for your life and for your purpose and your mission. And what I think people should be doing right now is focusing on their purpose and mission.
I've been super concentrated on like my projections and what I really, really, really want to bring into my reality. I've been really concentrated on that. And that's kept me happy, and it's kept me in high vibration. So I think that everyone should try to find what it is that they're looking forward to, I guess you could say, in creating, and keep concentrated on that, and do what you have to keep that in track. Even though if it feels so far away or impossible, don't decide that it's not far away and impossible. Decide that you're going to do it, and you don't know how, but you're going to do it, and concentrate on that, and bring in individuals and friendships and support systems that are going to help you get to that.
Yeah. I love that. Do you want to add anything else before we close off the episode?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay. If you guys do want to find more information out about all this 3D, 4D, we even go into, we talked a little bit about 2D, right? And 5D, I think. And all of this stuff. I remember we ended up we were going to talk about 3D, 4D, but we talked about 2D and we went into 5D.
I don't
a little
remember
bit
now,
with the Akashic Records. Yeah. So if you guys do want more of this channeled stuff, that's all available on the Patreon. The link will be on the show notes. Go check it out. We have a great community there. It's a small community, but we all feel like a family.
It's really
a lot
nice.
a lot of us are chatting on our private Telegram group and really supporting each other through this, because a lot of us do feel lonely. A lot of us do feel like we're going through a lot right now. So
it's a lot of 4D talk.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah, it's good though. And we're talking about our personal stuff and supporting each other and making sure that we're there for each other. And also, just one more thing before we go. We've probably already announced this by the time this episode comes out, but we are doing one more Akashic Records Level 2 Zoom course this year. It's going to be the last one this year. We don't know when we're going to do it in next year, so for 2022. But this course for this year, the last one that we're doing, will be on Saturday the 13th of November, Sunday the 14th of November, and Sunday the 21st of November. So it's a 3-day course. Same setup as we talked about last time. It's 2 days of theory, 1 day of practice, and then you guys go ahead and do your homework. You'll have access to our private Facebook group. You'll have access to us to ask us questions. You'll get a full manual that we've channeled through our Akashic Masters and Guides. It is pretty complete. It not only goes into all of the aspects of being a channel, but also into all of the aspects of starting a business within the Akashic Records and being an Akashic Records reader and healer. So yeah, we're super excited to be bringing this back again. And
it was so much fun to teach. Like it was my favorite. Man, I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
And we had an amazing group the first time too.
Yeah, I was really happy with our first group. So if you guys have been thinking about learning to read Akashic Records for other people, if it's something that you feel that is part of your path as a healer or a channel, send us a DM, send us a message. We'll have the link to all the information about the course on the show notes. And yeah, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about it. And yeah, we hope to see you guys in the course, to meet you. And I think that's about it. We're still also doing the podcast helps assistance. So if you guys are interested in getting assistance with your podcast in any way, from coaching to setting up your podcast to anything, any part of that process, feel free to reach out to us. We'll put that information below as well. And that's it. We'll see you guys next week with a new episode. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.